Good morning. Hello, here we are. We are about to start our final session. I hope you're all doing okay. Hi, Amy. Hi, Mrs. Gassy is back again. Thank goodness. I did wonder. Gigi, Ellis. Hello, Ellis. Hello, Silverhill. Hello, Jennifer. Who else have we got? We have got hello, good morning, guys. Hello, Mrs. Gardner. Hello, Sylvanian Times. That sounds very nice, very interesting. Good morning from all of Year 5. Hello, Year 5. How are you? Very, very nice to see you all. I can't hear you, somebody's saying. Can you hear me? Can we have a thumbs up if people can hear me? Because that would be helpful. Yay, says somebody. Hello, Willow. Caius. Oh, I love that name. Shout out to Pilton Bluecoat, Year 5. Hi, Emma. Hi. Oh, I am here with my cup of tea. I wouldn't let you down in the old tea department, would I? On our very, very last session. So let me have a slurp and we'll get started. Brilliant. Okay, you can hear me. That's really, really cool. Okay, so what we are going to do this morning is you're going to ask me some questions. So we've got half an hour or so of anything you want to know about being a writer or, what I had for breakfast or, you know what I mean. So anything you want to know, basically. I've had, hello, hang on, we've got a birthday request. Please say happy birthday to my son Max. He's 10 today. Happy birthday, Max. I hope you have a really, really great day. You lucky thing having a birthday on such a cold and crisp morning. And St. Joseph's Blaydon. Hello, St. Joseph's. Woo! Very, very nice to have you all with us. Oh, this is so nice. Well, I'm going to miss this next week. Mind you, you guys are going to be on a half-term holiday, aren't you, next week? So that is a good thing. So you have got lots of things to look forward to, I hope, which will be really exciting as well. Okay, so first question coming up here. Whoa, what inspired me to be an author? Okay, and that's from Claire Price. Claire Price 218. Hello, Claire. Okay, well, hi to Maeve as well. Hello, Maeve. You've been an absolute trooper through all this. I know you've really enjoyed these sessions, haven't you? So thank you, Maeve, very much. Right, what inspired me to be an author? And that was the first question that came up. So what inspired me? Well, I would say two things. First of all, that I actually love English, and I've always loved English, and I've always loved writing. So that's sort of one of those things that kind of I was sort of born with, I guess, in a way. Like, some people, are very keen on maths and football and things like that. So it's sort of in my brain a little bit anyway. But I had a really, really amazing English teacher when I was at secondary school, particularly, a lady called Mrs. Bailey, who was one of those really inspirational people who just saw me, if you know what I mean, and just knew what I liked and how to make me kind of tick. So I think she was a big inspiration. And I just think, I am continually inspired to this day by all the books I read and all the amazing writers out there. There are so many brilliant children's writers out there these days, and they are a constant source of inspiration to me. So yeah, they're all those things. Please not the clock today, says Mrs. Rodway. Don't worry. Can you read some of your new book? Somebody has asked. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I can. I see that I'm getting all nervous now because I get a bit like, I don't know. Anyway, let's have a look. What book was the best for writing? Somebody's asked me. Do you know what? No book is easy to write at all. But I would probably say that the book that was the most fun to write, there's two of them actually that really stand out as being absolute joys to write. One of them was Strange Star, because Strange Star is all about one of my favourite books, Frankenstein. So that was a big, that was a big adventure, and that was great fun. I really enjoyed that, and I love that period of history. And the other one was Secrets of a Sun King, because I didn't know very much about ancient Egypt before I started writing that book, and I was absolutely fascinated. I can see why you guys love studying it at school, because it was, body parts in jars. I mean, hello, it's all there, isn't it? So I really, really enjoyed writing that as well. So those were the two that I really enjoyed. Okay, I'm going to press a button down here, and I don't know what's going to happen yet, but it's the questions box. Have you, this is from Holly. Have you inspired any books from real things? Well, yeah, Holly, actually quite a lot of my books are, take their basis from real things that happen in history. So something like Strange Star, for instance, is based on a real book. Somerset Tsunami is based on a real event that happened. Secrets of a Sun King is based on a real event that happened. So yeah, actually I do tend to take a little starting point in history, and then the rest of it is me using my imagination. So yes, I'm just going to go back to these questions now. Who is your favourite writer? Somebody has asked me. CB2821. Oh, I can't even read the numbers. Anyway, you know who you are. Who is your favourite writer? My favourite writer, gosh, I mean, look at my bookcase. There's quite a lot of favourite writers up there. So I have lots of favourite writers. There are lots of writers who, when they publish a book, I will read it. So people like Jacqueline Wilson, Catherine Rundle, Kira Mild-Hargrave, Lisa Thompson, Michelle Harrison. They're all big faves of mine, I have to say. So yeah, I would read anything by those people. And there's loads more as well. I haven't even mentioned, have I? But there's loads. Yeah, I mean, I've showed you quite a lot of books on here, haven't I? Of books that I love. So yeah, all those things. Okay, I'm going back to my questions now, because then if I go back to my question box, then I can follow them a bit better. This is a good question. Fitness Gem. What do you think of what to write? Oh, I thought that said, what do I think of what I write? How do you think of what to write? Well, if you think about some of the exercises that we've done in these sessions, so some of those kind of like looking at little pictures, looking at objects, things like that, those are all things that I do that help me kind of think of what to write. So those are definitely things. I think history, that's why one of the reasons why I like writing historical fiction is you can always find a good old story in history somewhere. So that's always quite good as well. And it's all the little things that I really like writing about. The little things that people tell you, or the little things that you see in the street, or the little things that you see as you're driving past in your car. They all kind of go in my brain and sort of fizzle away there, and they kind of give me ideas. So I think, I've got quite an active imagination. Let's be honest, I am one of those people who would lie in bed at night imagining, things under my bed, or, my dressing gown on the back of the door looking like a kind of wizard or something. I was that child, still am. But yeah, all those things I think definitely really help. Okay, let's go back to the questions for a minute. Ellis has asked me how. I don't know, Ellis. That is a big question. That is a question for the universe. How? I mean, we've got 20 minutes left now, so I don't know that. That's just too big a question for me, this thing in the morning. Okay, are your stories fully worked out before you start writing a book, or is there a rough outline as you go along? That's from Kate. That's a good question. The book I'm writing at the moment, so the book that I started with you guys a few weeks ago, that actually is the first time I've ever written a book from a synopsis. So I've actually written from start to finish what's going to happen in that story. That's the first time I've done that ever. And I thought, this is going to be great. This is going to be much more straightforward. Although I've had to kind of sort out a story to start with, it's going to be much more straightforward than trying to make it up as you go along. But it's not at all, because there's still loads of other stuff that kind of comes in. I never stick to that synopsis. So generally speaking, the way I write is that I have a general idea. I might have like points of the story that I know about. But in the first draft, it really is about putting down those tracks and sort of making my way through it all. And that's actually what I kind of like doing, really. Okay. Oh, how do you keep myself motivated without a timer? Somebody at Pilton Bluecoat has asked me. That is a very good question. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Somerset Internet. It's a bit colder this morning. It probably just needs warming up. So, how do I keep myself motivated? I think sometimes you do have days where the writing is really, you motivate yourself because the writing is just like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. But I also do all those little writing rituals that I talked to you about. So things like, I always have a cup of tea. I've got my dogs down here. Well, usually. I sometimes burn essential oils and just to make it all nice and cosy in here. And sometimes I don't know, I'm quite a motivated person anyway, in the sense that I will come and, I even if I don't want to do so, I'll kind of come on, let's come and do it because I love writing. But sometimes you have to kind of, sometimes you have to accept that it's not going to happen. And, you might have written one sentence all day and it's like, all right, I really ought to go and do something else. But I don't know. I think sometimes you kind of think, okay, if I write 1,000 words today, then I'm going to have a really big bowl of crisps at the end of the day. Food is quite a good motivator, I have to say. Okay, how many books have I written? I have written 11 books, I think, and a couple of shorter ones. So that's a quick question. How difficult is it to get a book published? It's pretty difficult. I mean, there's a lot of books. You go into a bookshop when you can, and you see the number of books out there, and you realise that the competition is absolutely fierce. And of course, at the moment, that bookshops being open, that's really tricky as well. So, but people are still buying books. People are buying them online. People are borrowing them from libraries electronically. So it's still happening. People need books, and I think whatever kind of awful situation we're in, stories are a brilliant remedy for it. They're a brilliant way of escaping, and I think people have realised that and have turned to reading in a big way. So although there are elements of the pandemic that have made getting published difficult, there are also elements that have made the book industry absolutely thrive. So I don't know how difficult it would be now to get a book published. I mean, it's always been quite tricksy. I mean, it's one of those things that's always put me off doing it, but I think persistence is the key. And also luck. There is a lot of luck involved as well. If you happen to strike upon something that people like reading, that's really good. Which book took me the longest to write? Probably Frost Hollow Hall, Emma, because that was the first book I was writing and I was teaching at the same time. So that meant I had less time to write. How long does it take to write a book? Mendip Girl is asking me. Well, again, it depends on how long you've got time-wise. So I would say, normally anywhere between about 3 to 5 months for a first draft. And then the same again for all the edits you've got to do. How long did it take to write Letters from a Lighthouse? Somebody's asked me. Well, that one, do you know what? Letters from a Lighthouse was my most difficult book to write. And that one did take a while because the first draft was absolutely rubbish. And then I did lots of rewrites and lots of changes to it. And also, just the history was hard to research, and the things that my characters went through were really traumatic. So that was very hard, and I did shed a lot of tears writing that book. But it's my most successful book. And actually, in some ways, it's my favourite book. So, sometimes things that are hard kind of have the biggest reward. I don't know. But that book's very, very special to me, that book, for lots of reasons. Okay, what else have we got here then? Slurp of tea. Let's have a look. Go back to my question box for a minute, if you don't mind, because there's a load of questions waiting in there. How do I choose my book titles? Somebody's asked me. Although I have asked, let's have a look. What's it like being an author? Oscar has asked me. 9472 Oscar. What's it like being an author? It's amazing. It's the best job in the world. And I know every author you ask will say that, but it really bloomin' is. I still have to pinch myself every day that I'm actually doing this thing that I love so much. Even now when the world is sort of pretty grim and boring and I want to go and do something. I'm really lucky that the thing I'm here doing, I absolutely love. So I feel really lucky, and I know I'm lucky, because I know there's lots of other people out there who'd love to, have this. So I know I'm really lucky, but I know also I've worked really, really hard for it, because you do have to work really, really hard for it. So there's a lot of hard work involved. It's, what else can I say about it? It's quite nerve-wracking, actually, to put it mildly. So, when you've got a new book coming out, that is really scary, because you think, oh my goodness me, how people are going to take it. And usually when you've had a few reviews come in, it starts to get a bit easier, but you sort of like, ooh. So that's quite scary. So bits of it scary, bits of it worrying, because you kind of check things like Amazon and see how well your book's selling, and have people left you reviews and stuff. So some of it is quite nerve-wracking. A lot of it is quite nerve-wracking, because that if that book's not successful, then that narrows down your chances of being able to write any more. So, your success, you continuing as an author, a published author that can make a living from it, is quite dependent on how successful you are. So that is a bit of a worry as well. But generally speaking, I mean, my goodness me, it's just such a nice job. So yeah. Do you have children to distract you? Sophie's asking me. Do you take inspiration from kids at school? Okay, so somebody else has asked me this children question as well. You'll notice how quiet it is in my house. No, unfortunately, I don't have children, or fortunately, depending on your way of looking at it. So no, I don't have children of my own. And you would probably know why that is if you've read things about what happened to me when I was 34. So no, I don't have children, but I've worked around children for 20 odd years, and that's still actually one of the best bits. So I should have mentioned this. One of the best bits of being an author is being around people who read your books, and being around people who read books, and being around young people. I absolutely love it. I really do. I get so much from being in a classroom still, or being in a hall, or being in a festival or bookshop or whatever. It's just the best part of the job. So it's kind of, it really helps with that sort of, not having children of your own, to sort of just be around that, I can use that word again, energy, being around that energy. It's lovely. I love it. And I don't know, you might have noticed, but I'm not the most kind of grown up of grown-ups myself. So, that helps. What happened when I was 34? Okay, let's have a look. Let's go back to our question box. Are you going... let's have a look. I'm just trying to choose different people, because there's some questions. Lots of you have written loads of great questions here. And I'm just going to try and vary it a little bit. Would you just like to say thank you? Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you ever so much. On behalf of Juliet at age 12. Let's have a look. She's having her Zoom French lesson at the moment. I can't see the rest of your question, unfortunately. She would like to... No, sorry. I can't... Sorry, Juliet's parent or adult. I can't read the rest of that. Have I written a story about the Greeks? No, I haven't. That's a really short answer, isn't it? But no, I haven't written a question about the Greeks. A book about the Greeks, but I'll tell you who has. Mary Alice Evans, Who Let the Gods Out, and you should read that if you haven't, because she is hilarious and brilliant. Okay, let's have a look. What age... Oh, this is my type of question. Look, W Temple 04. What age did you get Bertie, and did Olive settle in straight away? And that's from Immy. Hi, Immy. I got Bertie when he was a pup. He was really grubby when he turned up. He was all covered in mud and tomato soup, because apparently he'd been sticking his head in somebody's tomato soup cup. So he was... When we bought him, they told us he was about 10 weeks old, and there's no way he was 10 weeks old. He was much older than that. But he was probably about 14 weeks old at that point. He was a lovely little lad. I brought him home, we just lost our previous dog, Bagel. I was really, really sad. And so he was a little rare sunshine. He really cheered us up. And I wrote a lot of Frost Hollow Hall with Bertie on my lap as a puppy. So Bertie is 10 on Saturday. So he has his birthday. I think it's Valentine's Day on Saturday, isn't it? So he was born on Valentine's Day. So he's going to be 10, and he's a handsome boy still. He's a lovely lad. So I might get him to come and say hello to you in a minute, actually. So that's Bertie. Olive, I got when I'd written the first draft of Letters from the Lighthouse. A friend of mine got in touch and said, "Oh, my dog's just had puppies. Are you interested?" And of course, that's just lethal, isn't it? So Olive came to me as a 10-week-old puppy, and she did settle in very, very well. She really attaches herself to people, Olive. She's a real people dog. And when I got her, I put her in the front garden and shut the gate and went back out to close my car door. And I live on quite a busy road, and she had crawled out under the gate, tiny little 10-week-old puppy, and a car coming down the hill had stopped in the middle of the road and said, "Oh my goodness me, I think there's something followed you out into the road." And it was Olive, who'd come out into the blooming road and was standing at my feet going, "Oh, hi, hi." So yeah, so she did settle in very well. Yes. Happy birthday to Bertie. Oh, thank you. Okay, so let's see what other questions we have got here from you guys. Thank you so much. You're keeping me really busy. My puppy is coming next Tuesday. He's called Ernie. That is such a cool name for a dog. I love that name. It makes me think of that song. You can hear the hoofbeats pound as they race across the ground. You ask your parents about that song. And the rattling of the cartwheels as they went round and round. We won't forget our Ernie. Ernie. Sorry, a trip down memory lane. Are my parents still alive? My parents are still alive. Thank you very much for asking. They are alive and well. They have both had their COVID injections, and they are absolutely tip-top. I FaceTime my mum and dad every day. They only live about 10 miles away in Taunton, but I FaceTime them every day. I love them to bits. I really do. They're the people I'm really missing. They're quite bonkers. I don't know, just great. I'm really lucky. I get on with my mum and dad really well. I love them to bits. So yes, my mum and dad are very well, thank you. And they're my biggest fans as well. My dad is always the first person to read something new that I've written. So he is itching to read The Week at World's End. Okay, would I like to make a film out of one of my books? I often get asked that question, actually, and it's actually not down to the author. It's down to whether a production company want to buy the rights to make your book into a film. So that's the first step. So it's nothing to do with the author at all in terms of the author's, whether the author would like it to happen or not. It's actually whether somebody thinks the book has got potential. So books of mine that have had interest have been Secrets of a Sun King's had quite a lot of interest, actually, and Frost Hollow Hall. They've both had quite a lot of interest, so we shall see. My dog is called Bertie. He's next to me. Do my parents read my books? Yeah, well, I think I've just answered that one for you, probably. They both do. And they both have their favourites as well of my books. So, yeah. I don't know what's happened here now, so I'm just going to kind of keep going here. What would be... Captain Curly Locks is asking me this. What would be your top 3 tips to new authors? And that's from Mr. Hick, who's got a very nice Instagram name. Thank you, Mr. Curly Locks. I hope you have got curly locks and you're not just pretending. Top 3 tips would be, you've got to read. The best way of teaching yourself how to write a book is to read books. So that's the toppest tip of all. And the second one would be to, keep your eyes and ears open and listen out for little snippets of things that you think might make an interesting story, because, that stuff happens all around you every day. And if you think you're going to forget something you hear or something you see, write it down. I quite often carry a little notebook around with me so I can scribble things down in that. And my third tip would be to, quite a lot of things I've shared with you on here, really. Things like finding a lovely, comfortable place to write. That, you go there and you go there to write, because that really helps you get into the mindset of writing. So don't just think, I'm going to sit down at the kitchen table while my mum's, washing up and my dad's cooking in the background or whatever. Have a place that's yours, where you write, where you can be quiet, where you can surround yourself with stuff that you are comfortable with. Okay, so those would probably be my some of my tips. Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Okay, have you ever used? Let's have a look. I'm trying to vary whose questions I'm taking here. Hello, Book Lover Joe. This has been so lovely, Emma. So nice to see you on here. Thanks so much. Book Lover Joe's got a book coming out next year. She's an absolute legend, this woman. She is, all the stuff she does for people, finding books, helping kids, find authors that they love. She judges book prizes. She reviews books. She is she is an absolute book hero. So if you're on Twitter or Instagram, do. And the internet cut out then, Joe. Sorry, I was saying nice things about you, honestly. Okay. Oh, I love a bit of Somerset internet. Right, let's have a look at some more of your questions then. Mum. Let's have a look. Are my parents still alive? Vicky Hickman, you really want to know if my parents are still alive. You've asked me You've asked me that quite a few times now. They are definitely still alive. They were when I last checked. I shall tell them that later. They'll find that very funny. What's my most popular book? Somebody's asked me. Well, the one that sold the most copies is, surprise, surprise, Letters from the Lighthouse. So, I guess that's because it was Waterstone's Children's Book of the Month, and it amazingly gets studied quite a lot in school. So that is absolutely amazing when that happens. I mean, as an ex-teacher, I kind of... Ooh, that really does get me, I have to say. So yeah, that's the best one. And can you hear that in the background? I think that might be somebody at the door, or maybe nobody at all. So yeah, that's probably my most popular one. But it's hard to say, really. You just kind of everybody's got a different one that they like. So my dad's favourite is The Girl Who Walked on Air, because he. Louis named after his mum, so that's I think that's probably why it's his favourite. But he likes a good old adventure. He also likes Sky Chasers. That's another one of his favourites. My mum's favourite is Secrets of a Sun King. So they all have different ones, and I guess my best friend's favourite is Frost Hollow Hall, and all those sorts of things. So everybody has a slightly different one. Okay, I'm just scrolling down through now. To see what other questions we've got here. We've got lots of happy birthdays to Bertie, who's making quite a lot of noise. Let's have a look. Who is your... do I have any brothers or sisters? Silver Hill are asking me. I do. I have a brother who lives in Australia. And he has lived in Australia for... almost 30 years. He's lived in Australia for far too long, quite honestly. And when we were growing up, as most siblings, he's only 2 years old. He's 2 years older than me. And when we were growing up, we used to kind of wind each other up all the time and that sort of thing. And I was just saying, Mum, tell him, because he always used to kind of just know how to press my buttons and get on my nerves, basically. And then when we got older, we got on really well. And we used to, when we were at university, we used to go and stay with each other and hang out and, just were really good buddies. So it was really sad when he moved to Australia. He went to Australia just for a year and was just travelling. And on the day before he was due to come home, he had an accident on his surfboard. And, the fin that's on the bottom of a surfboard, he sliced his buttock open on that, and he had to. He was fat, it was all a bit dramatic. Thank you. 6 minutes left. So he couldn't sit on a plane for 24 hours with his bum all sewn up. So he ended up staying, and he's married out there now. He's married to an English girl, but he's married out there. My nieces live out there, and all that. Yeah, so he's lived out there for years. And my parents usually go out there every winter, but of course they haven't been able to this year. So yes, I do have a brother. Okay, I have fish, says somebody. Well, that's, it's kind of similar. Okay, I have a rabbit. 6 minutes, Emma, thank you. Okay, I'm going to just show you now. I know we've got questions, but I am going to show you a dog. Come here, you scamperlicious. Oh, I think it's about time that we had a Jack Russell interlude. So here's Olive, because they're making their presence felt. What they're trying to tell me is basically we haven't had a walk yet today. So she's trying to tell me that. So this is Olive. So you can say hello to Olive. There she goes. Look, there she is, looking out the window, pretending she's seen something. And Bert, you going to come here? No, not. Okay. So let's go on then. My dog is snoring. Which is your favourite book which you've written? I think I might have probably answered that one. But I would say, have I? No, I don't think I have actually. Sorry, Marmot Moomin. I would probably say it is Letters from the Lighthouse, actually. Because, I don't know, I just feel very attached to it. Which school did I used to teach in, somebody's asking me. It's called the Axe Valley Community College, and it's in Axminster in Devon. I also used to teach at a school called the Weald School, which is in Billingshurst in Sussex. So there you go. Okay. My favourite is The Girl Who Walked on Air, says Joe. What did I have for breakfast? I had some muesli and a banana and some oat milk. I'm a bit funny about milk. I like it in my tea, but on my muesli I like to have oat milk. Well, will you do these? Will you do these Story Hunter things next term? I won't be, I'm afraid, because you'll remember there was a book. There is a book that is being written, and I've really, really, really got to crack on with that. I just need to kind of get on with it. I'm afraid. So I have loved doing these sessions, and I'm going to wind up now because it's 10:32. But I have absolutely loved doing these sessions, and I've really loved talking to you guys. And thank you so much for all your questions and for your time and for your company. You have been the best. Honestly, it's just like, my husband says to me, "Oh, your little face when you come out of doing those sessions." It's like, I know, I love it. It's really, really nice to know that you guys are all out there, and it's just making that connection and saying hello and having a little bit of a giggle, and it's really lovely. Honestly, I've just enjoyed doing this so much, and it's really gone above and beyond my expectations, because I kind of started out thinking, we're going to get some, be all about serious writing and blah, blah, blah. And hopefully it has. I hope you have kind of learned some little tips along the way, and because you've inspired me, with some of your answers and just knowing you're there and kind of doing it with me, that's really, really helped. But just like I say, just that connection, just that human connection and saying hello has been absolutely magical and really special. So thank you ever so much. And I'm wishing you all the very best. I'm sorry we can't go on with these anymore, but like I say, I do need to crack on and do some writing. Tempting though it is, it really is. I have got to crack on, but stay tuned to more news about writing and stuff, because I'm sure there'll be plenty. And stay safe, stay well, stay warm, and wishing you all a brilliant half term. You and your teachers and your parents really deserve a break. So sending you very, very best wishes. Happy writing, guys.